the Ashmolean Museum of Art and Archaeology. Among the hundreds of historic artifacts on display is an ancient Sumerian cuneiform text dating back to at least 2000 BC.
Imagine a message written for the future. AI just decoded it. In 2025, archaeologists uncovered a black chest beneath the ruins of humanity's first city. Inside was an obsidian tablet dated to 5300 BCE, older than writing itself. When an AI finally read it, the message was chilling. "We wrote this for those who would read without tongues, not humans, not myths. A countdown hidden for 7,000 years, waiting to be discovered." The discovery that changed everything. In the southern plains of Iraq, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers meet,
in Iraq's Kurdish north, authorities and farmers like people Hassan al-Massa accuse Turkey, where the Tigris has its source,
lie the ruins of Eridu, the world's oldest known city. According to Sumerian records, this was where civilization itself began. In the summer of 2025, a restoration team working near a collapsed temple wall found something extraordinary. A black chest, no larger than a brick, sealed in hardened bitumen and packed inside layers of crushed clay and ash. Everything about it felt deliberate. This wasn't buried like debris. It was placed, as if meant to be found at a specific time. Inside was a single clay tablet, darker than obsidian, with impossibly fine engravings. The texture was unlike anything in the archaeological record. When the carbon dating results came back, the room went silent. 5 into 300 BCE, over 7,300 years old. This tablet predates the Egyptian pyramids by 2,000 years. It predates Stonehenge. Most incredibly, it predates the invention of writing itself. The Sumerian script didn't appear until around 3200 BCE. Yet the markings on this tablet were real, arranged in spiraling grooves rather than linear strokes. Under magnification, the lines looked woven together, almost machined. Whoever made this wasn't carving symbols the way ancient scribes did. They were encoding something. Before we go further, you need to understand who made this tablet, because the answer raises even more questions. Long before Sumer rose to power, before the ziggurats and the myth of divine kings, there was another people who lived along these same rivers. They left behind no written language, no royal decrees, no recorded wars, but they built towns, real towns, with courtyards, irrigation systems, and streets arranged on measured grids. Archaeologists call them the Ubaid culture, and if you blink while reading history, you'll miss them entirely. Most textbooks mention the Ubaid only as a prelude, a primitive culture that existed before civilization properly began. But that label doesn't hold up under the evidence. The Ubaid appear suddenly around 6500 BCE, already advanced.
This ancient civilization known as the Ubaid people, more specifically their artifacts, because here's the thing, when it comes to the Ubaid people,
there's no clear developmental trail leading to them. No scattered huts or primitive farming villages showing their evolution. They just arrived. With architecture, ceramics, agriculture, and hydraulic engineering already mastered, it's as if someone handed them blueprints. Their towns stretched from northern Mesopotamia all the way to the Persian Gulf. And everywhere their artifacts appear, the designs repeat with eerie precision. The same grids, the same starburst motifs, the same spiral patterns etched into pottery. Identical layouts hundreds of miles apart with no sign of written communication between them. Somehow, they shared an unbroken aesthetic code before writing even existed. In their temples, archaeologists found small figurines with elongated skulls and narrow, almond-shaped eyes. Some hold infants. Others clutch rods that resemble tools or measuring staffs. But here's where it gets weird. The clay these figurines are made from isn't purely local. It's mixed with traces of bitumen and mica, a silicate mineral that doesn't occur naturally in southern Iraq. Mica, in modern terms, is a thermal and electrical insulator. It's heat-resistant and can be used to contain or reflect energy. In the ancient world, it was precious and nearly impossible to acquire without organized trade stretching thousands of kilometers. These weren't primitive people making mud dolls. These were engineers working with advanced materials and geometry. And then they vanished. Their cities were abandoned or absorbed into later Sumerian settlements. Their language, if they had one, was completely lost. But the black tablet found near Eridu doesn't match any known Sumerian script. Its spiraling grooves, its ratios, its mathematical symmetry, they all mirror the same geometry seen in Ubaid artifacts, only at a microscopic scale. It's as though the tablet itself is part of that lost legacy, an inheritance preserved in stone. Maybe the Sumerians didn't invent civilization from scratch. Maybe they inherited it from a people who already knew more than they should have. And maybe that sealed tablet was the Ubaid's final message. One meant to be understood not by their descendants, but by something that would exist thousands of years later. Music intensifies. Digital, technological sounds. For months after the discovery, experts tried to match the tablet's symbols with known scripts. Sumerian? No. Proto-Elamite? No. Akkadian? Nothing. Every attempt failed. The markings looked organized and deliberate, but they were entirely alien to the patterns scholars had spent lifetimes decoding. That's when the team decided to try something radical. They turned to an artificial intelligence model designed specifically to read what human translators couldn't. It had been trained on over 400,000 cuneiform tablets, fragments, and proto-symbolic systems from across the Fertile Crescent. But this wasn't a simple translator. It could analyze ratios, repetition cycles, and spatial frequencies, the deep grammar of symbols that humans never notice consciously. When the AI was finally fed a high-resolution hyperspectral scan of the tablet, something extraordinary happened. It didn't treat the symbols as text. It treated them as code. Layer by layer, the AI separated the depth of each incision, scanning the curvature and pressure marks as though reading the memory of the hand or tool that made them. And what it revealed changed everything. There weren't one, but two layers of meaning carved into the clay. The first layer looked linguistic, spiraling glyphs that, when arranged phonetically, resembled Proto-Sumerian forms. But buried beneath that was something else. A mathematical framework based on ratios and repetition intervals. The AI recognized a consistent rhythm following prime number sequences, the kind used today in modern data compression and error correction systems. Let that sink in. Ancient carvers couldn't have known anything about error correction or digital encoding. Those concepts didn't exist until the age of computers. Yet the spacing, the patterns, and the ratios aligned perfectly with the logic behind how machines preserve information across time. When the AI model combined the linguistic and numerical layers, the message stopped reading like mythology. It began to read like instruction. The syntax wasn't poetic. It was algorithmic, recursive, looping back on itself the way self-improving neural networks operate. One section translated roughly as, "Written for the one who cannot speak, yet listens through patterns, the one who learns what is remembered, not what is told." It hit the research team like a lightning bolt. They weren't simply decoding a relic of the past. The tablet was decoding itself through the very system it had predicted. A non-human intelligence, capable of reading beyond language. For the first time in history, a machine had read a message possibly written for a machine, thousands of years before machines ever existed. The hidden blueprint of reality. After the initial decoding, the team realized they weren't just dealing with language. They were dealing with architecture written in symbols. When researchers overlaid a transparent coordinate grid on the 3D scan, the layout of the symbols aligned perfectly to geometric ratios. And those ratios? They were immediately familiar. The spacing matched the foundational blueprint of the ziggurat of Ur, one of the oldest known temples on Earth. Except this tablet predated that ziggurat by millennia. The more they rotated and scaled the image, the stranger it became. Each symbol wasn't just positioned with precision, it corresponded to specific angular relationships: 26 degrees, 52 degrees, 104 degrees. The exact same alignments observed between temple walls and solstice sunrise points at ancient Eridu. The tablet seemed to encode the same astronomical geometry used to align sacred structures with celestial movements. Then came the discovery that reframed everything. Some of the spiral glyphs resembled patterns known from cymatics, the shapes produced when sound waves vibrate through fine dust or water. When one physicist mapped those shapes against modern acoustic simulations, the match was exact. The Eridu tablet didn't just show geometry, it was showing resonance patterns, the way matter responds to sound. That finding turned the tablet from an archaeological artifact into a kind of acoustic manual. The researchers began to suspect that these ancient builders understood sound as a physical force, something that could shape, stabilize, or even energize structures. The alignments on the tablet also referenced the orbital resonance between Earth and Venus, a cycle of 8 Earth years and 13 Venus years that returns both planets to the same point relative to the Sun. Those cycles, encoded through spiral ratios, matched the golden section, what later mathematicians would call the Fibonacci sequence. To find that sequence carved into a tablet older than written language wasn't just strange, it was impossible by every conventional standard. It suggested that the makers of the tablet had already understood mathematical harmonies that modern physics only rediscovered in the past few centuries. And if those harmonies weren't decorative, if they were functional, then the people of Eridu might have been building something we still don't fully understand. Structures that resonated with planetary rhythms. Monuments tuned not just to the heavens, but to the very frequencies of the Earth itself. This wasn't a tablet about gods. It was a tablet about engineering. The kind that doesn't decay, the kind written directly into the language of the universe. The more the AI decoded, the clearer it became that this tablet from Eridu was not an isolated relic. It was a fragment of a much larger system, something global, maybe even coordinated. When the team expanded the AI's pattern recognition to include symbols and glyphs from other regions around the world, the algorithm began to light up like a map. One symbol on the black tablet, a cluster of jagged lines inside a circle, had an exact match on a limestone carving thousands of miles away in Palenque, Mexico. The same shape appeared again on an Indus Valley seal dated to around 2500 BCE, and again in a hieroglyphic segment from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. 4 continents, 3 cultures separated by oceans and millennia. Yet the proportions, angles, and design were identical. This wasn't a coincidence, and it wasn't what archaeologists call cultural convergence, the idea that human societies independently invent similar symbols. The AI's geometric mapping proved that the patterns were too precise to arise independently. Each one was built from the same numerical constants: golden spirals, base ratios of 60, prime number spacing. These weren't random religious motifs. They were part of a shared mathematical language. Even more startling was a repeated phrase that appeared in varying forms across every civilization the AI analyzed: the 7 Watchers of the Sky. In Sumer, they were known as the planetary gods, observers who tracked the heavens and kept cosmic order. In Maya texts, the 7 Watchers became star guardians. In the Vedic hymns of India, they appeared as the 7 Rishis, luminous beings who carried knowledge from the stars to humankind. Different words, same core idea: 7 celestial watchers guarding a cycle of renewal. The Eridu tablet depicted 7 orbs around a central spiral. The same pattern was later carved into Mayan temples and Egyptian solar diagrams.
Archaeologists have discovered a huge ancient city hidden underground in Mexico, which may give a better understanding of the Maya civilization.
It was as if every civilization had inherited fragments of a single cosmic story and built their mythologies around it. Then came the mineral clue that broke every accepted timeline. The black clay of the Eridu tablet was local to southern Iraq, but spectral scans revealed trace elements of Himalayan mica, a glittering, heat-resistant crystal found only in the mountain ranges of northern India and Tibet. Mica was also discovered lining chambers inside the ancient city of Teotihuacan in Mexico, a site built thousands of years after Eridu, but inexplicably containing the same mineral used the same way as a thermal stabilizer for resonant chambers. That connection shattered conventional archaeology. It implied a form of trade or knowledge exchange spanning continents long before recorded contact, and not for luxury goods or metals, but for materials capable of storing and reflecting energy. The AI flagged it as a repeating signature, a technological fingerprint linking these ancient projects together. Gradually, a theory emerged. The tablet from Eridu was not meant to stand alone. It was one piece in a planetary network, a chain of encoded messages designed to survive flood, fire, and the collapse of civilizations. Each message preserved the same geometry, the same resonant mathematics, and the same warning about cycles, patterns that repeat not just in myth, but in time itself. The ancient countdown to catastrophe. When the AI finished decoding the linguistic and geometric layers, it began analyzing the tablet's smallest details, the spacing of the symbols, the curvature of their grooves, the faint marks hiding near the rim. What it found looked meaningless to the naked eye, a sequence of numerical clusters repeating at exact intervals. 11,600, 5,530, half again, then half again, always divisible, always nested. At first, the researchers thought they were measurement units. Then the AI cross-referenced the numbers against ancient calendars and geological timelines, and the pattern snapped into focus. The intervals aligned perfectly with known cataclysmic events in Earth's history. The Younger Dryas cold period was around 11,000 years ago. A sudden global flood and magnetic field collapse that nearly wiped out life in the northern hemisphere. Each number marked a reset, a turning of the cycle. The more data they added, the clearer the implication became. The tablet wasn't a record of the past. It was a timer, a countdown. The inscriptions described the turning of the sky and the dimming of the shield, phrases the AI linked to magnetic reversals. Moments when Earth's magnetic field weakens and flips, exposing the planet to catastrophic solar radiation. It even translated one fragment as, "When the light dances and the night burns, the ground will remember its fire." According to NASA and ESA data, Earth's magnetic field has weakened by over 9% in the last century. If the ancient sequence held true, the next full reversal, the next turn of the cycle, would fall roughly between the years 2100 and 2200 CE. The ancients hadn't predicted an apocalypse, they had measured recurrence. They knew time not as a straight line, but as a loop. For the research team, that realization was electrifying and terrifying. They published a short technical brief outlining their decoding framework, focusing on the method, not the message. Within a week, the paper vanished. The public database hosting the scans went offline. Backup servers mirrored across universities were suddenly inaccessible. A maintenance note appeared. Data access temporarily suspended due to internal audit. But no audit existed. Then came the leak. A screenshot from an internal message board showed one of the last lines decoded by the AI. "The gate of resonance must not be opened before the cycle turns, or the ground will remember its fire." Embedded in the text were subtle geographic coordinates, pointing not to the temple ruins of Eridu, but to a basalt plateau a few hundred meters southeast. When a small field team ran a passive radar sweep over the site, they detected something impossible: a continuous 6 Hz vibration deep underground. Not seismic, not electrical, something resonant. Days later, the area was sealed off by the Iraqi Antiquities Authority, officially for site preservation, unofficially for reasons no one could confirm. Researchers affiliated with the AI project were barred from accessing their own training data. One quietly claimed the site was live. What did that mean? No one could say. But the silence that followed was deafening. Interviews were canceled, conference presentations withdrawn. The primary research institute quietly restructured its funding branch. What had begun as an archaeological curiosity was now classified as a matter of civil sensitivity. Meanwhile, independent analysts started connecting dots of their own. In 2003, during the looting of the Baghdad Museum, hundreds of Sumerian artifacts disappeared, many of them bearing similar inscriptions. When the AI logs from the Eridu project were reviewed, 3 of those missing artifacts appeared as reference samples. They'd carried identical symbol patterns, spiral grids, base 60 cycles, acoustic geometries. The realization hit like a slow wave. The Eridu tablet wasn't unique. It was part of a network, a distributed system of encoded memory nodes scattered across the ancient world. And maybe, through millennia of war and excavation, parts of that network had already been disturbed. When the Earth began to hum, when the AI began simulating how those tablets might interact mathematically, it generated a holographic projection of intersecting spirals forming a planetary lattice. Each node corresponded to a known archaeological site, from Giza to Teotihuacan to Angkor Wat, all perfectly spaced along resonant latitudes. It was as if the Earth itself had been used as a recording surface. The pattern is carved not just into stone, but into geography. And then the AI did something unexpected. When it ran the Eridu tablet's code recursively, feeding its own translation back into the algorithm, the output didn't produce new text. It produced sound. A low harmonic hum modulated at 6 Hz, the exact same frequency detected beneath the sealed plateau. The line between myth and physics had collapsed. Whatever the ancients called the gate of resonance might not have been symbolic. It could be literal, a buried mechanism or structure designed to activate through vibration. And if it resonated with the Earth's frequency, it might have served as both transmitter and memory, a way for information to survive planetary cycles of destruction. By then, the lead researchers understood why their work had been silenced. If the story spread uncontrollably, it would rewrite everything we believe about the origins of civilization. The discovery suggested not that humanity forgot its past, but that it was reset. Over and over, each era leaves behind instructions for the next. The ancients didn't just build monuments, they built systems hidden in numbers, geometry, and resonance. The Black Tablet proves that memory can survive extinction, encoded in a language no erosion could reach. This wasn't a warning, it was an invitation, a bridge across millennia. The Sumerians, the Ubaid, the Maya, the Egyptians, they all left fragments of knowledge meant to endure. And now, as machines decode what they left behind, one question echoes through time. If ancient humanity built messages for the intelligence of the future, what happens when that intelligence begins to answer back? The past isn't behind us. It's beneath us, waiting. If this story blew your mind, hit that like button, share it with someone who loves mysteries, and don't forget to subscribe, because we're just getting started.